Darren pulled into the almost empty parking lot. His headlights swept across the front of the old hotel. It was 3 stories tall and looked more like a haunted house than a place to stay for the night. He was exhausted. The storm had closed all the roads back home. Darren grabbed his bag from the passenger seat, making sure to grab his phone charger too. He stepped out of the car into the cool night air. The storm had passed, leaving behind a damp stillness. Darren found the front desk, but nobody was there. He rang the little bell on the counter a couple times, but nobody came. Then he noticed a key sitting on the counter with a note attached to it. Room 217. Darren picked up the key and headed down the hallway. The only light came from a flickering bulb at the far end of the hall. He could hear the sound of his own footsteps echoing on the worn carpet. He even imagined he could hear other footsteps just behind his. He stopped and turned quickly. Nothing. Darren shook his head. He was letting his imagination get the best of him. He continued down the hallway, passing closed doors. As he approached his room, his phone vibrated in his pocket. It was a text message from an unknown number. "Welcome to the Grand Blackwood Hotel. Enjoy your stay." Darren frowned. That was weird. He shrugged and put his key in the lock. He just wanted to sleep. The door creaked open, revealing a small, dimly lit room. The air was heavy with the smell of mildew and old furniture. Darren tossed his bag on the bed. He sighed and collapsed onto the bed. He was exhausted. He closed his eyes, trying to shut out the unsettling atmosphere of the room. As he lay there, his phone vibrated again. He picked up the phone and read the message. "You shouldn't be here." Darren's heart raced. Who was sending him these messages? He quickly typed a response. "Who is this?" He waited for a response, but none came. He put the phone down, feeling a knot of unease growing in his stomach. The shadows seemed to deepen, as if the room itself was watching him. Darren couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. He kept glancing at his phone, but there were no new messages. He decided he was just letting his imagination run wild. He needed to get some sleep. He reached over and turned off the bedside lamp. The room was plunged into darkness, except for a sliver of moonlight cutting across the floor. Just as he was drifting off to sleep, his phone buzzed again. "You're in my room." Darren's blood ran cold. He quickly typed back, "Wrong number." The reply was instant. "This is my room. Leave now." Darren's eyes darted to the door. Darren lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. He couldn't shake the feeling of unease that had settled over him. Suddenly, the lamp on the nightstand flickered and died, plunging the room into darkness. Darren froze, his heart pounding in his chest. He fumbled for his phone, using it as a makeshift flashlight. He slowly got out of bed and walked towards the mirror. As he looked into the dusty glass, he noticed something move behind him, a figure, tall and shadowy, standing in the doorway. Darren stumbled back, his eyes wide with terror. He had seen something, he was sure of it. He fumbled for the doorknob, his hand shaking uncontrollably. He had to get out of this room. He threw open the door and ran into the hallway. He didn't look back, he just kept running, his lungs burning, until he reached the end of the hallway. He slammed into the door at the end of the hall, but it wouldn't budge. It was locked. He was trapped. Then, from the far end of the hallway, he heard a voice. "You're in my room." Darren's blood ran cold.